You're both part of the panel that is going to be engaging with everybody on such a relevant topic here that's plaguing our city. Who else is going to be joining you guys?
We'll have, for one, Jay Prince coming in.
Corey Gilkey, Bump J, another influential people.
No question.
Yeah, and more than anything, it's not even just about the panel, it's the community. A lot of times, you know, we have these galas, tables, and these events about the community, but the community isn't in the
present.
So, you know, that was the first thing I asked, how many seats are allocated to the community? So the community will be in the building.
Big collaboration there.
Yes.
Ryan, we'll start with you and your story. Both of you all have very inspiring stories that are kind of connected to gun violence. Ryan, we know that your sister was killed and your niece was killed by gun violence, and you lost the two of them, but obviously that was a tragic experience. And you've been able to turn it into something positive. You've been very open with talking about that. Can you tell us how you chose a different route for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, just, excuse me, given the way that, you know, we grow here in Chicago is just a little bit different with how, you know, it's seen as being, you know, the things that we go through when it comes to gun violence is so repetitive here that we're looked at to be, you know, you should get over it because you're from here. You know, when in fact that it's a big part that we should be putting a stamp on because we need to help the people who go through these things. You know, I mean, you have everyday people who deal with what we call post-traumatic stress, and, you know, they can react differently. So, I mean, it takes a big thing to make a choice to choose to do something different, you know.
And they tell you to pray it away, but
yeah,
you need
you know,
more support than that.
It's harder on the streets if you don't even know how to pray.
Yeah.
You know, so from that standpoint, it's just like, I mean, with the help of friends and community, which everyone doesn't have, you know, I mean, I just took that with a standpoint to know that, you know what, it's people who need to hear this story that can relate to it, that can also see that, you know, we're from the same streets that they think are the only thing that people possess to produce violence, but it's like we can change this around and be businessmen, we can be fathers, we can be intelligent and everything in between.
You know, one of the things growing up, my old man would always say to me is don't talk about it, but be about it. And Demetrius, if I'm reading this correctly here, you walked 672 miles to Washington, D.C. to protest the gun violence here in Chicago. What prompted you to do this? What did you discover on the way?
Well, I was part of the problem now. I'm one of the faces of the solution here in Chicago. Having gone to private boarding school, come home, go to CPS, found out that CPS was failing us as a community, failing us, and I ended up being one of the biggest drug dealers on 35th and State, and subsequently I did that for 8 years, and then I went to jail for 8 years, and I came back a determined man. I was in the federal system, so I was around men that I could share, learn, and grow with, men that were smarter than me. And just a determined man to come home and do something different. We was calling ourselves savages, and this is Chirac. And I don't come from that city. I come from Chi-Town. I come from the Windy City. I come from a place where, you know, we were gangsters and gentlemen. You know, even at the worst of times, I still watched my mouth when a woman named Miss Savannah would come around, and I still carried groceries. And I would still allow an elder to smack my hand because I need that spanking.
Unfortunately, times are changing.
Yeah, and so I was just determined because the solutions in our community only gonna come from men like us, only gonna come from those that, they talk about this 1,600 statistic that 1,600 of these young men are the ones that are doing the violence. Well, we can touch them. And when you come into the community and talk about solutions, it has to come from the community. Like I have an initiative called Replace Guns with Hammers that's getting these young men with guns in their hands and hopelessness in their eyes out of the streets into the trades, really trading a gun for a construction hammer.
And that's what Saturday's event is about, trying to get people realize that there are other options out there. There are other options and ways to get money, to find a family, and you all will be there along with for a panel discussion on that.
I mean, when you just think about gloves up, guns down, you know, you take a sport that's violent, you would perceive as violent, but boxing is so many great things. Boxing is discipline. Boxing is just, you know, authority figure, you know, going in, training, and all those things, all those good things that you can apply to your daily life.
Demetrius, Ryan, God bless you guys for doing truly special stuff here for our city. We cover a lot of stuff here, but this is really great stuff right here. And we wish you guys the best of luck with the journey. Anything we can do here at the Jam to help. You know, we're one call away, everybody.
Okay.
So Guns Down, Gloves Up with Floyd Mayweather and Karen Civil. It takes place tomorrow, Saturday, July 28th at the Dusable Museum at 4 p.m. and tickets start at $30.